Hello everyone and welcome to Fight Life Nation. Today we're going to be talking about UFC 272. We're going to be breaking down a fight that's on the undercard of the Colby Covington-Jorge Masvidal pay-per-view. We're talking about Dustin Jacoby versus Miquel Oleksiejczuk. I'm going to go with that pronunciation of his name. I apologize if I get it wrong. Both guys are lower level light heavyweights. Dustin Jacoby is a product of the Contender Series. He came back. He used to fight in the UFC. He came back and Dana White gave him a contract even though he only won a unanimous decision. And normally Dana only gives those contracts to knockouts. Miquel Oleksiejczuk is a fighter who's been in the UFC since 2017. But he really started getting a little bit busier in the last couple years. I did an extensive breakdown. I went through, watched a few of their fights. I watched about 4 fights of Miquel's. I watched about 5 of Dustin Jacoby's. I think I got a very good idea of how this fight's going to break down. And at the end of the video, I'll give you a pick of who I think is going to win and how it's going to happen. And I'll let you know this. It's different than what I thought when I initially started this video. Before I even did the research, I had one opinion. And then after watching the fights, thinking about it for a little bit, I changed my mind. So let's go one by one, each fighter, and we'll go through their fights. The first person we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby is a fighter. He comes out of Colorado. He was born in Fort Morgan, but he fights out of Denver. He's 33 years old, 6'3", 78-inch reach. He's 16-5-1. It's a very interesting because his record's very similar to Oleksiejczuk, even though Jacoby has been fighting longer. He just took a lot of time that he spent in Glory, which is a kickboxing organization. That doesn't count to his MMA record, but that really, that's where he's coming from, his background. So, Dustin Jacoby comes off the Contender Series. He fought Ty Flores to unanimous decision. Dana gives him the contract. His first fight in the UFC, and he fights Justin Ledet. In this fight, Dustin Jacoby looked spectacular. He landed a lot of low leg kicks, hurt Ledet early, and then was able to finish him with punches. This is all in the first round. It was at 2:38 of the first round that he finished him. So it was a great way to break into the UFC, even better than his fight on the Contender Series. He made himself a name. The UFC goes on, gives him another fight. This time he fights Maxim Grishin. And I believe in this fight, Maxim mixed weight, Grishin mixed weight, because he was much bigger than Jacoby coming into this fight. But in this fight, Jacoby, he fought at the distance that he wanted to. Jacoby is a kickboxer. He wanted to have the distance to where he can fight and land his shots, get off with leg kicks. And that was the problem for Grishin. If Grishin would have just crowded him a little bit more, I don't think Jacoby had the power to hurt him. When you watch the fight, Jacoby lands pretty good, but not like an exceeding amount. Grishin lands pretty good, not a terrible amount. Like it was a very close fight, is what I'm trying to get at. And I think this is more of a Maxim Grishin loss, that he lost the fight than really Jacoby won. I wasn't very impressed by this fight. The next fight for Jacoby, he fought Ian Cutelaba, and Ian Cutelaba really exposed Jacoby for what he was. He took him down 8 times in the first round. So Jacoby was unable to stop anything that Ian was able to do in the beginning. He showed that he really has very little takedown defense. And I think the only reason why he was able to get this to a draw, because he was able to get it to a draw, was I think Ian Cutelaba got tired. Ian's got a very muscular frame, and that really lends to getting tired early. And I think that's what happened, because Jacoby looked terrible, and I think it really set up the way to beat him. Anyone who watched that is going to see that, and I think he's going to struggle when he fights more elite light heavyweights. His next fight, he fought Darren Stewart. Darren Stewart must have watched the tape, because the first thing he does, he runs in and he takes him down. In his fight, he knew that he could take him down. But in this fight, Darren Stewart made the mistake, stood at the range that he wasn't supposed to, and this time Jacoby was able to get off again. Once again, he was able to get off. He landed a couple good shots, knocked Darren Stewart out. The referee stopped the fight. Darren Stewart wanted to continue. I think it was a good stoppage. He was hurt. He was dazed. not really much to talk about. Darren Stewart isn't really a name you're going to hang your hat on. His last fight was against John Allen. Once again, if you look at these fights, these wins, Justin Ledet, Maxim Grishin, Darren Stewart, John Allen, there's no big names. You know, he didn't beat anybody. The biggest name he fought was Ian Kudalaba. He was able to get a draw. But nothing that was like a name that you're going to remember. So with John Allen, he stood in front of him. John Allen made the mistake, just like the other fighters, of standing at his range, so it allowed Jacoby to get off his kicks, allowed him to be able to work at the distance that he wanted to do. Wasn't that impressive of a fight. This guy is not an elite kickboxer by any means. This isn't Israel Adesanya out there, but he's capable, and that's his style. He's gonna be a kickboxer. But that was Dustin Jacoby. He got the unanimous decision, so that means he has in his UFC tenure, he has 2 unanimous decisions, a draw, and 2 knockouts. Not the worst record in the world. When you look at it, you don't see a loss, so you think of it as really good. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in the UFC in the last year and a half. He's been very busy, so he has that on his side. The next fighter that we're going to look at, Miquel Oleksiejczuk, which is very similar to the name Joanna Jacek. It's spelled the same, so I think that's how you would say it. But Jacek, or Oleksiejczuk, was born in Poland. He's 6 foot tall. He's 27 years old. He's got a 74-inch reach. So right off the bat, that jumps out at you. He's going to be 3 inches shorter, and he's going to have a 4-inch less reach advantage. And that's a real weird statistic, because when they say reach, they're doing it fingertip to fingertip. I think it's more important to look at it as far as like the armpit to the fingertip. I don't know what their reaches are when it's like that, because if they have a big back and small arms, I don't know if that's a big difference. But the numbers definitely favor Jacoby. Oleksiejczuk is 16-4-0 with 1 no contest. So I watched Miquel. I'm going to stop trying to say his last name because I'm just losing it here. I watched Miquel, and he had some great fights. I went back quite a bit. His first fight in the UFC was with Khalil Roundtree. That went to a no contest. That was in 2017. That was in December of 2017. Then it took a year off, so I'm wondering if they even let him want to come back and fight for a while. But he took a year off, comes back, fights Gian Vellante, gets a win with a punch to the body, fights, bear with me here, Gadzhimurad Antigulov. He fights him, wins on uppercut, ground and pound. All right. So the first fight that I go back and watch is Ovin St. Preux, the OSP. So Miquel Oleksiejczuk fought OSP this is September of 2019. And this is when OSP was looking pretty good. But Miquel came out great. In the first round, he was really strong. He was he came out with his style is like to punch. He kind of reminds me of a poor man's Mike Tyson in that he throws uppercuts. He has like a bouncy style where he bounces his head a lot. It's kind of herky-jerky. He doesn't have the explosiveness of a Mike Tyson. He doesn't have the power of a Mike Tyson, but definitely like the style. You can tell that's probably where he got his style from. He probably studied him. So in the first round of this OSP fight, he hurts OSP, and he kind of bounces him around the ring, and he's punching him. And I think if he was more dynamic of a fighter, I think he would have finished the fight. OSP did get pretty hurt, but in the second round, OSP was able to learn that he can land a body kick on Miquel. And after the body kicks, he was able to take him down. And once he got him on the ground, I mean, it was like a hot knife through butter. He got right to his Von Flue choke. It wasn't even close. Miquel has 0 ground game. Jimmy Crute, which is the next fight, must have watched the OSP fight because the first thing he did was try to take him down. And once again, Miquel could not stop the takedown. Him and Jacoby, a light breeze can knock them over. If a light breeze comes by, it'll take these guys down. Neither one has any ground defense or any takedown defense, any ground game at all for both of them, I'm going to say. So Jimmy Crute takes him down. Miquel gets up, but Jimmy Crute just takes him down again, grabs a Kimura, locks it in. It's an easy win. When you watch the fight, Miquel was never in this bout. This was not a close bout. It was really kind of disappointing. I'm wondering if the UFC was thinking about cutting him after this fight because he took a year off. I don't know why he took a year off. Maybe he wanted to study the ground game more. But he comes back and he fights Modestas Bukauskas. And Bukauskas made the mistake of not doing any ground game. He didn't try to take him down. This is a good fight. I thought Miquel looked good. Miquel was going with his uppercuts to the body, to the head. He was throwing punches. I watched the fight. I thought against Bukauskas that he was winning pretty easy. I thought Bukauskas was able to land some leg kicks on him, though. He landed some high leg kicks. It's very telling coming into this fight where he's fighting a kickboxer what could happen. But Bukauskas wasn't able to get the win. It was a split decision, and it went to Miquel. The next fight he fought Shamil Gamzatov. And I guess it's because he's fighting all these Europeans is why it's so hard to say all these names. But he fights Shamil Gamzatov. In this fight, Shamil Gamzatov is the hot prospect coming in. He was 14-0 at the time. And I really think they were trying to feed him a guy that they thought that would be a fun fight to watch, but he'd get the knockout easy or the stoppage win. But no, Miquel came out, looked like Tyson, like I said, did the herky-jerky, bouncy style, landed a bunch of uppercuts on Shamil, and it was a good uppercut that really caught him. Once he learned that he could land the uppercut to him, he hit him with a good one right in the head, and Shamil fell down. It was a first-round knockout. A dominant performance. A great performance leading into this next fight. So both guys are coming off really good performances leading into this fight. Both guys are strikers. This is why I think this fight is going to be exciting. Let me talk about why I think you should watch this fight. Both guys are entertaining. Both guys like to stand and bang. I don't think there's going to be any takedowns. I try to watch to see who would have any kind of takedown ability, and they each weren't any good at it. There was a fight, I think it was against Bukauskas, where Miquel tried to clinch up against the cage. He didn't do anything with it. It looked really terrible. There was a fight with Dustin Jacoby where Dustin Jacoby did, I believe he tried to take his opponent down. I believe it was in his fight against Maxim Grishin. It was nothing impressive. It didn't work. He didn't do very well in that. I think if either of them had any takedown ability, I think they would easily win this fight. But because they're the same skill level at that, because neither one can take the other down, you're just going to have to cancel that out. It comes down to this fight's going to be all about range. Do you think that Dustin Jacoby can get in the range to win the fight? Because he needs to create space. He needs to be able to get his kicks off. If he can create space, I do think that he can easily win because he can do exactly what OSP did where he kicked him to the body. The difference is OSP then took it to the floor and was able to get a choke. I don't see Jacoby doing that. He would have to finish him up top, and Miquel's looked like a guy who can, last standing up. The other thing I want to talk about, both guys seem to get tired. When in the second round, both guys tend to look gassed. Neither one are extremely tired, but neither guy after the second round looks like he carries a big gas tank. So that being said, I'm going to pick in this fight. I'm taking Miquel Oleksiejczuk, and I'm going to tell you why. When you watch the fight with Jacoby really needs that space. Without that space, he's not going to be able to use all his weapons. He's going to have to rely on his punches. He doesn't punch the hardest, Notoriously, kickboxers aren't the biggest punchers because they have to stand in a position that doesn't allow them to be heavy on the lead leg. The only chance I see for Dustin Jacoby to make space is if he can land calf kicks. He did it to Justin Ledet in his first fight. That wasn't that long ago, but it's been a while since he did that. In the Justin Ledet fight, they kept calling Ledet a boxer. It's a very different stance than what Oleksiejczuk does. Miquel likes to come forward. He is a pressure fighter. He's not going to give Jacoby much of an opportunity to create these shots. I think this is a big opportunity for Oleksiejczuk. I did look at the betting odds for this fight, and it's a pretty good size favorite for Jacoby. The bettors, they bet it was like, I want to say it was a plus 190 for Dustin Jacoby. And I think Michal Oleksiejczuk, or it was a minus 190 for Dustin Jacoby, and it was a plus 175 for Miquel Oleksiejczuk. I think that's good money to lay down. I really do think that Oleksiejczuk is going to get the win. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be exciting because I don't think either guy has got enough power to really knock the other one out early. It's going to be a grinding fest. I think they can each take a pretty good punch. So that'll be fun to watch. This is going to be a good fight, guys. This is the opening to the show. These aren't elite fighters. Neither one's going to ever challenge for the title unless there's a short notice replacement. These are just guys, you got to enjoy them while they're there, while they watch, while they fight. Watch them while you can. That is my review of this fight. That's my breakdown. This is my first fight breakdown. As you can tell, I'm new to this, but I'll get better. I'm not too worried about getting better. I'm worried that, I really wanted to get one in the can. Dustin Jacoby versus Miquel Oleksiejczuk. Just having to say that name was really tough for me. But everything's going to be good. Stay tuned to this channel. Do me a favor. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comment down below. I know these aren't super popular fighters, but if you're a fan of the UFC, you probably watched them. Let me know who you think is going to win. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos. Like this video. Help me get it out there. You can share it. I just want to grow this channel. Really what this channel is here for is to help local fighters grow. Local might be another word for just regional fighters, just guys trying to make it to the UFC. I wanted to cover some of the UFC so I can actually try to get some more views. There's much more coverage to be, there's much more views to be had if you cover the UFC, but I really want to help grow the local scene. I'm here in Southern California, and I think there are some excellent fighters that are coming up. I'm going to be reviewing one of the fighters who used to be a local fighter, and another fight in the Jalen Turner fight that's coming up later this week. Highly suggest you stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel so you can watch that. Thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.